Intuition is a dangerous thing. Humankind has long sought answers, the truth about the stars, ourselves, and all of our reality. Reality defies understanding. Humankind takes shortcuts. Reality defies understanding. Intuition is a dangerous thing. We last left off with you all doing a bit of an investigation at the Eden Pit, that sort of pond that was very cursed looking. It was like blood red water surrounded by this dark stone cliff, basically. And you found a few interesting things there, took a few samples, but like nothing terribly crazy came up there. High Tide saw some weird visions, and you had to kind of settle him down later, but other than that, it was fine. So you settled in for the evening, rested up, and went straight to Benthic the next day. It turns out that the doctor, Dr. Gent, did not return home the previous night. Your stakeout did not see her there. And so you assume she was at the lab, and that is indeed where you found her. The security guards there continue to be dicks. They continue to slow down your progress in any way they can, just stalling you and being very slow about the process. But you finally were face to face with Dr. Gent. She revealed many things to you. It seemed like once you started talking to her and the topic of her unnatural research came up, she very enthusiastically began speaking about these things. And fortunately, by the end of it, as she was babbling on, High Tide had had enough and swung at her and missed with a computer monitor on the nearby desk. So, we'll be starting this session off entering directly into initiative order. I am going to consider High Tide. You have the highest initiative normally, so I'm just going to consider that to be your turn for this round. Is that chill with you? As you
Yep.
kind of jumped in. All right. So then, Hunter, you see High Tide rush up, swing with a computer monitor, and miss. What are you doing?
Well, the time for violence is here, so I'm
It
gonna
is.
just commit some hand-to-hand physical violence against the good doctor.
Hell yeah.
With a intent to knock out. Hunter, how did you miss that?
How did you miss that, Hunter? Okay. You rushed in, unarmed combat, completely fumbled it again. Once again, Dr. Gent just appears to have some unnatural speed here. Her body seems augmented by whatever this effect is that's on her, this fungus that has infested her system. And though she looks very sickly, it doesn't appear that she's moving sickly. It is now her turn. And I think High Tide, you were the first to strike out, and she had previously said, like, oh, so it's going to be like this, huh? She is going to just immediately strike back out at you after dodging Hunter's roll. So, pull that real quick. She fails.
Can speak someone blessed.
Yeah, exactly. You're so blessed. Unfortunately, you were far too blessed for her. So she lashes out at you, tries to grab you, and upon failing to do so, even with her enhanced speed, she just starts screaming. Like, you can tell she's just trying to draw attention. She's trying to draw the other guards in the facility here. Just at the top of her lungs, not screaming any words, just primal screaming. Hallow, what are you doing?
Hallow is... Well, now that she's screaming, I don't think mind wiping is going to do any good. Hallow is going to also go for unarmed combat. He's going to go in to try and just clock her, knock her out.
All right. Once again, that is a success. Leave unarmed damage is 1d4, and I think there's a damage bonus that scales off of your strength.
Okay.
So if your strength is mediocre, it might even be a negative.
Yeah. My strength is 12.
Okay.
Uh,
Something we should know.
there it is. I have it in here. It's 1d4
Zero.
minus 1 for unarmed attack.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah,
that
9 to
is
12
just the
strength.
roll.
Gives
There
you
we go.
damage bonuses. Okay. There you go. So, you do swing out at her, but even after hitting her directly on the head as she's just standing there screaming, her eyes a little bit closed because of the screaming, you're able to get a solid blow in. But it feels like you're hitting something really solid when you do. And it's just, you can tell that even though you've hit her, she just continues to scream. Her body hardly budges. You can tell it's going to take a lot more to knock out whatever her biology is now than a normal human's biology would be. But it is now Hestia's turn. What are you doing, Hestia? Hestia, you may be muted.
Can you hear me?
I can now.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking.
Oh, good. Just check.
Guess we're going with unarmed combat.
Are you just trying to knock her out as well?
Yep.
Okay. What is Hestia's strength?
Oh, 1 sec. 10.
Okay. With a 10, then yeah, 1d4 minus 1 is what it looks like. Yep, you just try to hit her on the head. Maybe you grab something and swing it at her, and again, it just, whatever you grabbed, maybe like a binder off the desk or something, just breaks on her head. It seems like, yeah, very solid surface here. Not doing much with fists. It seems like if you want to hurt her, you're going to have to use some more deadly weapons, which may not be what you want, but that's the situation you're currently in. High Tide, it's your turn. You hear footsteps outside the hall rushing towards this door as Dr. Gent is just screaming.
I'm going to drop the monitor and attempt to barricade it with a chair under the handle if it opens inwards.
Okay, I think it would open inwards, so you just, yeah, you can take your whole turn. I won't make you roll for it. Barricade the door with a chair. Seconds later, the doorknob twists. There's pounding on the door as the door rattles back and forth, and you hear someone shouting, "Open up! This is the chief of security! Let us in!" And they're just continuing to scream like, "If you don't open this door, in 5 seconds we're gonna start shooting!" Things like that, right? So it's a very tense situation at the moment, but it is Hunter's turn.
Alright, Hunter is going to be as discombobulated as Taylor is probably. He's going to scream incomprehensibly back at the people on the other side. Something about a fire.
Okay. Would you like to roll something for that? Perhaps like
Yes.
a intimidation, persuasion? I don't know. Something? What skill even applies here?
I'm looking through the list.
I mean, are you trying to just get them to go away, essentially? Like,
Pretty much, yeah. He is not trying to be like super persuasive. He's trying to make them panic and go somewhere else. It's probably not gonna happen, but persuade maybe.
you could just roll a luck roll. I'd allow that.
Okay. Thank you. And is that just a D100?
Yeah, you just want to roll low. You want to roll under 50. Okay. I think they do get a little confused by this. I don't think you convince them that there's a fire, but they start shouting back things like, "What do you mean there's a fire? Open this door! Why is the door locked?" And you stalled them from their plan of just starting to shoot at the door, and you've continued some conversation here. But I mean, yeah, perhaps you hear somebody running away to get like a fire extinguisher or something, but it doesn't sound
I shoot
like
a thumbs
they've
up to
gone
everybody
away.
else in the room.
Okay. And then we are back to Hestia. Or, sorry, my mistake. We are first back to Dr. Gent, who the only person to successfully harm her so far has been Hallow. So she is going to attempt to grapple you, Hallow. She is indeed. That is a 6 total. So, as everyone has just been hitting her on the head and trying to knock her out, she reaches up and grabs Hollow, spins him around. It just gets like an arm around his neck, and she just has him locked, ready to, her arm poised to continue hitting him, not like with a much higher advantage from, actually having you grappled. You can fight back against this, dodge, whatever you want. It would consume your turn, but you could attempt to roll to resist this.
He will, and he's gonna do unarmed combat again. Just try and kind of fight off her arms, try and slip out as she's going for the lock.
All right, so you want to roll higher than a 6, but under your unarmed combat. Critical success.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and roll that damage and double it then.
Equipment, unarmed attack.
Unfortunate, but
Yeah,
is what it is.
I can't roll max damage on every attack.
Nope, not every attack. So 2 points of damage. As you, the other part of the success is you managing to actually fend off her grappling you. So she goes to grab you and spin you around, but you resist and just get her on the chin, and then she shrugs backwards and drops the grapple. And now it is Hestia's turn, because Hallow just took his turn.
Okay, and how is she doing?
She looks barely affected.
What would I roll to try and gag her?
You could probably try to grapple her, essentially, which I would say could be unarmed combat or athletics, probably. I think there are specific rules for this.
Okay, let's try unarmed combat. Nope. Okay.
Nope. So either way, you fail. So you guys are all just struggling to grab at her, and she's just shrugging you off and pulling you out and like elbowing some of you as she goes. And you're just not having a good time silencing her here. Now that she has also heard like there's people outside the door, you're trying to argue with them. She has turned her like primal screaming into like, "They're attacking me! Come in here right now! We need you out here!" Like clearly communicating to the officers outside what is going on inside the room. High Tide, you have sealed the door. The officers are outside the room. They appear to be preparing to just start shooting down this door. What are you doing?
I've got 3 questions. You can tell me if
course.
any of them are in the room.
Yes.
Is there a flare?
I don't think there would be a flare in this room. No, it's just an office.
Just an office. Okay, so there's no
Yeah.
chemicals either.
No, it's just like it looks like just a fairly basic office. I mean, honestly, even I think you looked around a little bit before when you got here, and it was pretty light on even like paper materials. You could probably guess, connecting some dots that the time that the officers bought earlier was probably used to destroy a lot of evidence around the lab. So things are pretty empty.
Okay. Because my thinking was to try to make some sort of a fire to get smoke going under the door so it was more believable.
I mean, it's not impossible, but yeah, if you don't have the supplies on you to do it, it might be trickier. You don't have like a lighter on you or anything like that. Yeah.
Well, I guess. Can I don't think it's going to stop bullets, but can I start moving filing cabinets towards the door?
Sure. Roll
Like
me a
shuffling.
a strength check to see just like this is more to see like how many of the filing cabinets you can move over in just a couple seconds. Like you could probably easily just move one, like tilt it over there, but if you want to get like a second one, okay, yeah, very low roll there. So you like tilt a filing cabinet in the way, and that blocks the chair in a little bit more, and then you just shove another one out in that direction, just piling up more stuff in front of the door. And then it is the turn of the people outside. So they are all just going to start shooting. You all inside this room currently have armor because you're just behind the cover of this wall, but it's not like a thick metal door or anything. They are going to start shooting through this door. And at least some shrapnel and bullets will come through at a slightly lower velocity and all that kind of stuff. The armor rating will help you here, but it may not save you. We'll see. First, I'm just going to roll for them as a group to see how well they do with this. Yeah, let's do that. I'm just going to roll a D100 and see how they do. Okay, they all roll very well. I think instead of lethality for this, no, I will roll lethality for this, but with armor rating. So, I'm going to roll another D100 for lethality. Give it a lethality of 5% as an improvised lethality for spraying just a bunch of bullets through this door. Not under 5%, then you add the digits together. Okay, so fortunately for you all, this has worked out very well for you. 4 damage is underneath the amount of armor you get from being behind this wall. So they all start shooting at this door, and bullets just start puncturing through the door. They start puncturing into the filing cabinets. A few bullets break through, and they just kind of sail through to the opposite wall and like shatter windows and things like that. But none of you are hit in this moment. However, you all are under gunfire at the moment. You all are adapted to violence, yes? Or is Hestia not yet? Right?
Hestia is not.
So Hestia, roll a sanity check. Failure. And for something like this, those of you even who are adapted to violence, I think you are all going to take 1 point of sanity loss regardless. You just take the minimum, not 0.
Am I taking?
Hestia, you are going to take 1d6.
Alright, and do you roll that or do I?
I'll just roll it. You took 1. There you go. But you all are under active fire here. What are you doing, Hello?
We were not didn't take away our guns and things, it sounds like, then, did they? I don't remember that happening.
I don't think they did, no, because you had a warrant. You weren't like touring as a visitor or anything. Coming in with a warrant, you were allowed to be there with your weapons and stuff, so yeah.
Yeah. Alright, guns are hot. Hallow swings up his shotgun and tries to just aim for center mass.
On Dr. Gent?
Yep.
Alright. That's a success. Go ahead and roll that damage.
Keep rolling threes.
Yeah, there's a pattern there.
Does a shotgun not have lethality?
I don't believe it does. I think some versions of it do, but not this one. Lethality usually represents like the chance that it's usually for things like spray and pray weapons and stuff like that, where like, oh, there's a small chance that one of the bullets just headshots you, right? Like even if they weren't precisely aiming for it or whatever, or one of the bullets just happens to get through the, a gap or hits a vital organ or whatever. Whereas the shotgun is, a lot of pellets. It'll hurt. It'll do a lot of damage for sure. But less randomness and more about how good your shot is. So 3 damage. You see a chunk of her flesh at the shoulder just get torn away, and blood starts pooling, spreading across her white lab coat. And she screams, she's ah! And starts to charge back at you, Hollow. She's going to roll unarmed combat. She is not armed. She fails. Perhaps she tries to swing with the arm that was just shot, and it just doesn't work like it's supposed to now, so just kind of swings limply at you as like some of the muscles that would have lifted her shoulder have been disconnected. Hestia, what are you doing?
I don't really have a ton of options, do I?
I mean, if you are not confident in doing harm here, you could scramble for more cover or something. One of the windows got shattered. You could dive out the window. But you don't have to... This isn't like D&D. You don't have to just attack things, right? Whatever you think Hestia would just do at the moment.
That's tricky. Sorry, I'm still like learning this character, so I'm not always sure what she'll do.
That's fair.
There's gunfire. She's gonna duck and she's gonna hide.
Okay, roll dodge, and that'll determine how well you like duck for cover, basically.
Not very well, apparently.
Not very well. But I mean, just the act of attempting to find cover, I'm going to give you 2 bonus points of armor here. So you're up to 12 armor. It was 10 from the door. So, but the door is rapidly decaying. But, that's that at the moment. Back to High Tide. The men outside are breaking down this door with bullets. Your makeshift barricade is helping, but it won't be long before they've broken through that as well. What are you doing?
At this point, she's swinging wildly. I'm going to attempt to grapple her.
Okay. So as she misses Hallow with her wild swing, High Tide comes rushing back over to just tackle. So go ahead and roll unarmed combat or athletics. Either one is fine with me. She is going to attempt to fight back.
Hit.
Which she
Oh,
succeeded.
buddy.
And you critically failed.
Seen a
That's
100
fun.
before?
I'm sure we've seen at least one.
I think
But,
once, yeah.
Okay.
I don't like that. You're scheming.
I am scheming. This is a fumble in combat, which is bad. I think you are... I'm just going to give you the option of damaging yourself a little bit with your fumble. She was also fighting back and succeeded. So this hurt. You're going to take 1d6. 1 damage from your fumble. Not too bad. But then she is going to, as she fought back, just like... Perhaps the scene here is you're trying to tackle her and she just kind of gets out of the way and you fall into like the broken glass on the floor and she's just going to stomp you into that broken glass harder. So she actually does basic unarmed damage, but a little bit more because of strength. 3 more points of hit point damage. How are you doing?
Good. But she's able to do a turn and react in the same round?
You are the first of the round, so it's a new round. She has spent her turn for the round early, essentially.
Okay.
So she won't get a turn later in the order here. It is now the officers outside's turn. They're going to shoot once again. I'm going to roll just to see how lucky they are first. Very lucky, it turns out. That's almost a critical success. Almost a natural one. So I'm going to roll lethality again. 96. That is not a headshot on you all, but that is 15 points of damage. Currently
Imagine
reduced
if
by
they
the...
headshot all of us at once.
That would be funny. So currently reduced by the wall that's crumbling as they shoot through the door and through the barricade and all of that. So everyone's going to take 5 points of damage except Hestia, who's going to take 3 points of damage. As you get grazed by some bullets or hit by some flying shrapnel or maybe even shot by like a single bullet that just hits in a very non-vital area. Something like that. It's bad.
Even Dr. Gent takes that, right?
Oh, true. Dr. Gent will take that as well. Thank you for the reminder. Dr. Gent will indeed take the damage of 5 because she did not scramble for cover.
I am also on 1 health. Does that make me unconscious?
Yes, you fall unconscious.
Zonk.
But you are not dead yet, so that's good. How's everyone else doing? Is anyone within 2 points of 0?
I'm 5 points of 0.
I have a question, because I tapped a ballistic vest. Would that have also reduced damage?
Yes. Ballistic vest is more armor.
It's a 3 rating. So I would reduce that 5 by 3 more.
Yes, you would reduce it by 3 more. Armor does stack, but with common sense, essentially. Like if you are trying to wear 2 helmets, that doesn't work. If you try to hide behind 2 walls, that might not necessarily work. But if you're hiding behind a wall and wearing armor, that does work. So, yes, 3 less points of damage.
All right. Hallow is looking pretty... Like he's a little shot, but he's looking okay.
Kind of spaced out. Since I haven't really been drawing aggression, I only took the shots from the one most recent one, correct?
Yes, they miraculously did not hit anyone with the first burst, but with this one, they did hit you, but you had some more armor, so took the 3 points of damage.
Alright, I'm doing pretty good then.
Okay. Well, it is Hallow's turn because Dr. Gent already spent her turn.
Hallow's going to try to
turn this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Isn't it?
Yes, the security officers go before Hunter. That's right. So it's Hunter's turn. Thank you.
All right. Hunter is going to return fire through the debris.
Absolutely.
I have a 20 penalty because of sleep stuff, so this is a fail.
2 EB. So you shoot and miss. Perhaps you just hit some of the wall, some of the barricade, and more of the door starts to fall apart, but nobody outside takes any damage. Then it's Hallow's turn.
Hallow's going to try and reposition to try and get like behind the desk if he can. And also take a shot at Dr. Gent.
Okay. Go for it. That's another shotgun shot. Much higher damage this time. Where were you aiming with the shotgun blast?
This one he was kind of aiming for the base of the neck collarbone area.
Okay. So finally, you take this shot, and as she's scrambling to get up from the floor after being shot, after shaking High Tide off previously, she looms over you. You take the shot directly beneath her neck, and just there's an explosion of blood as she shrieks one last shriek and then starts crumpling to the floor. But as she does, fungus starts to erupt from her body, as if every muscle, every organ in her body suddenly contracts at once, with the sole purpose of squeezing as much bodily fluid out of her as possible, spreading the infection at any cost. So she first explodes into blood as you shatter several ribs and just tear off a bunch of flesh. And then this explosion of even more bodily fluids of all different colors, and the fungus, the alien fungus growing from it. It's a disgusting display. But most of you have already seen this, except Hestia, who needs to roll a sanity check.
Poor Hestia.
In that,
Poor Hestia.
Unfortunate.
we got sprayed with bullets.
We did. You did, yes. So a lot of anyone who took damage, which I guess is everyone, your
What
hazmat
was
suits
that?
are compromised.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay. So critical failure, Hestia, that is 4 points of sanity damage from the unnatural.
1 sec, I forgot to mark one for violence. Okay.
All
Is
right.
it 4 points?
4 points.
Does that automatically cause a break?
No. 5 causes temporary insanity,
Okay.
if that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just barely dodged that one. You can project onto your bonds still, but yeah, you don't necessarily need to avoid sanity stuff. I mean, to avoid insanity stuff. But with that done, can everybody give me a luck roll? As this stuff.
I'm going
spreads.
to.
No! My luck finally ran out.
Oh, Hestia might not last very long.
Why not?
Do I need to roll luck because I'm unconscious?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh no. Okay, what were you saying, Hestia, before the luck roll?
Debating about whether or not to project onto a bond.
You definitely could. It's up to you.
I think I'd like to. What do I do for that?
Roll a
Done.
d4, and that much d4 is like armor against the sanity damage, so you take less sanity damage. So you take 3 less sanity damage, and you do 3 points of damage to a bond, and you drain 3 willpower.
I think this critical failure for Hallow makes sense, given he was directly in front
Yes.
of this exploding fungus.
I think the unfortunately gross consequence of it being a critical failure is that perhaps like the visor of your hazmat suit was broken, and some of the stuff just pours in onto Hallow's face, and you are just like tearing away equipment to try and clean your face off and stuff. There's
Just
no
tearing
way
the
it's
helmet off and yeah.
trying to
Drink
clean
it all
yourself up
up.
as much as possible. Okay, that's fun. Hestia, it's your turn. You have an
Yeah.
unconscious teammate, but you also have a whole bunch of angry men outside a door with guns pointed at you.
Medicine. I'm a trauma nurse.
Okay, you can do a first aid check to attempt to patch High Tide up a little bit. That is a success. I believe that's 1d4. Double check that, but first aid, yes, can heal 1d4 HP. Can't be healed by first aid until they're damaged again. So there is a checkbox for that, High Tide, on your sheet.
Received first aid.
That's the one. So just check that so that we know you're immune to first aid for a little bit. And then Hestia can roll a d4 and we'll see how much healing you get. Nice.
Ooh.
I'm at half health now. Let's go.
So are you just like stopping the bleeding or something, applying some bandages, basically? Is that kind of the vibe?
Got my med kit on me, so I'm just kind of slapping on gauze and wrapping it up with tape.
All right. And during this process, High Tide, you shoot awake and gasp and inhale air, and then realize that you've been shot, your body is being worked on by Hestia, who probably had to like pull away some of your hazmat suit to even get to the wounds to apply first aid. You see the fungus everywhere, and you realize what has happened. If you were not immune to helplessness, I would make you roll a sanity check here, just for that waking up and realizing you're probably infected again. But you are immune to helplessness, so.
Given the circumstances, the amount that I have had to deal with fungus, I kind of think I should anyways.
Okay. You could definitely roll some from the unnatural. Just take points of unnatural sanity. So go ahead and roll sanity check.
Uh-oh.
A failure. So we'll say just 1 point of sanity damage from the unnatural. This is stuff you've seen before. You even took one of these bodies and tried to chop it up and burn it after it was in this state. So like, I'd seen some shit at this point. But still, you're probably in a bit of a panic upon waking up in this situation.
I probably just wake up and see it and just scream, and then I just kind of calm down.
Yes, you scream. Well, you may or may not calm down, because it is now your turn, and there are still very angry men outside the door who are currently reloading.
What floor are we on?
The first floor.
Well, you said the window was broken, so I'm gonna jump out the window.
Okay. Upon waking up, bandages barely applied. High Tide rises to his feet, jumps out the window. Could you give me some kind of roll here? I think athletics may be the most appropriate, just to see how well you handle yourself jumping through the window, basically. Like, there's broken glass everywhere, you're a little wounded, it's a crazy situation, you know. Can you successfully jump the window without, like, scraping on the broken glass is kind of the idea of this.
Nope.
Oh my god.
Sheesh.
Well, you are going to take a bit of a
Party wiped a broken window.
you're going to take 6 points of damage.
That's me dead. I'm at 0 HP.
Oh my god. So with a critical failure, I think High Tide, you stand up, slip on some blood, and just impale yourself on broken glass. Like, some of the shards of the window are still there, and you just fall, like, maybe neck first onto the window. And the rest of you see this. I need a sanity check from everybody.
You need a what? Sanity check?
Actually, sanity check from everybody who's not adapted to violence, I suppose.
I'm fine.
Yeah, actually, this is going to be complicated. So, sanity check, Hestia, you're going to take 1 point of sanity damage from that, even on a success. Hallow, you're adapted to violence, right?
Yeah.
Did
and
you have
helplessness.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask next. Did you have a bond with High Tide?
No, I had one with Hematite and Hunter.
Okay, so yeah, you wouldn't have even had to roll forward anyways, other than the standard violence. So, okay, and then Hunter, did you have a bond with High Tide? Are you adapted to violence? Not violence, helplessness.
I don't think I'm adapted. I am not adapted to helplessness, and I'm looking at my bonds. I do not have one with High Tide.
Okay. Do you have one with Garrett?
Oh wait, I do have. Yeah. That's a one-sided bond.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So you have the one-sided bond formed in our previous mission. You feel connected to this man, High Tide, Garrett. You referred to him by a few different names. Who is, like, you know, so many other people in your life have left at this point, and now he is dead before you. So this is going to be a sanity roll versus helplessness. No. Okay. On a failure, 1d8. 6 points of sanity damage, Hunter.
Oof. Thank you.
That probably triggers any of your sanity triggered disorders, and it also triggers a temporary insanity. But you can project this onto your bonds if you have any remaining.
I have 0 score in all bonds except my one-sided bonds.
Ooh, well, you can project onto those. They do exist.
Nope.
Okay.
So I guess it's either / or depression and intermittent explosive disorder.
I think intermittent explosive disorder definitely kicks in here. Your agent enters an explosive, irrational rage. The heart races, the body sweats, the head fills with rage, nothing is safe. Sometimes attacking whatever is in front of your agent is a relief from his or her internal turmoil. You also trigger a temporary insanity. You get to choose fight, flight, or freeze.
Fight.
Fight. Okay. Well,
Has Hunter ever done anything else?
Hunter,
He
you are
does a lot of running through the
technically-
woods in his dreams.
True. So Hunter, you are technically tied on initiative with these guards. I've been giving them the edge here because I usually do with the bad guys in this game, but I'll say the situation demands that you go before them here as you are filled with this rage. What do you want to do?
He's gonna scream and run through the broken open door while continuing to fire.
Okay. Go ahead and roll to attack, and we'll see what happens. Ooh, very
That's
good.
a 28, target is a 46, but that still is a success, I think.
All right. What were you firing?
My 9mm.
Okay. So I think that's 1d10 damage. 3 damage as you run through the door, just taking shots with the gun. I'll say you actually hit a few of them. Maybe you're just mag dumping as you run. It's kind of what I'm taking careful shots.
Yeah.
So you do 3 damage to a couple of them, shooting them in like the shoulder. One of them gets shot in like the leg, and they start to like fall back a little bit, but they've got their guns pointed at you, and it's their turn. I think they are all going to focus on Hunter in this moment. So, let's see. I actually... Yeah, I'll roll the luck first. Okay, they rolled well. Now we roll lethality. 21. You are supremely lucky. As all of these security officers start taking shots at you, but they're so bewildered by your charge at them from in this room as they are all firing at you that they just start shooting wide, and they're like falling back, and some of them are wounded as they're trying to shoot at you while they crawl away and stuff, and they're just not really hitting you. So you take 3 points of damage.
Down to 2.
That makes you unconscious. So, you do successfully rush out, and you do currently survive, but you collapse onto the floor upon taking a shot. Hallow, it's your turn. You have an agent down. You have an agent unconscious. You all would know as well, I think, that it is possible with very swift action to resuscitate someone. Just because High Tide has reached 0 hit points doesn't mean he's entirely gone. But yeah, it will require really swift action. You may need to rush him to a hospital or something like that, or just do quick work here. You've already done first aid. It might have to be something like a very quick and dirty surgery here, and it'll be very risky. Like, there's some options. Yeah, what are you doing, Hallow?
Well, first we have to get through this security guard situation.
I did also
Go ahead.
I did also have a quick question. All the security guards saw the mold and fungus. Did they roll sanity?
That's a good point. I did not have them roll sanity, but they absolutely should. Thank you for reminding me. They actually have pretty decent sanity because they haven't seen a lot of shit. But I'll go ahead and roll that. They pass. So they think it's crazy, and they're all panicking about it still, I think, but none of them like lose sanity over it. But yes, sorry, back to Hallow's turn.
Hallow's gonna try and get just enough cover to obscure where he's at in the room from where security guards are, and try and yell out to them. Dr. Gent was a monster of fungus. Look in the room. You can see it for yourself. We're sorry about the shots that came your way. Our guy panicked. But if you could please stop shooting at us, we'd really appreciate that, and we could explain this further.
All right, give me a persuasion check. I think minus 20% here, given the circumstances. They are in such a panic that trying to calm them. Okay.
Oh.
Natural 2. Almost the best critical success you could roll. But still, a success. You shout this out to them, and the sound outside the hallway grows silent very quickly. As they all get their weapons aimed at you, a few of them that are hurting in the hallway continue to groan a little bit at the pain of their wounds they've taken from Hunter charging out there. But I think the chief of security is going to still speak up here. He's going to say, "What the hell is going on here? You guys are shooting the place up. You're shooting my men. What the hell is that thing?"
That used to be Dr. Gent before she went down into the pit. It infected her with, honestly, before now, unidentified substance that slowly corrupts and takes over the body. She's been eating metal since that day. You'll find in her office, well, what's left of it, that there's small metal fixtures and things missing. If you're running low on caustic cleaning chemicals, that would also be a reason.
You're telling me she's been eating all this and living?
The fungus seems to thrive. The research site at Eden Pit is the source of all of this. Heavy metals, caustic agents, anything that is bad for humans, this thing likes. And it infected her, and it infected Dr. McCaslin. Dr. McCaslin is the whole reason we're here, because he got infected and started infecting people in town. Dr. Gent here wanted to spread it even further.
You all are going to stay right there. We're going to tend to our wounded. You do the same. But nobody is leaving this place. Nobody is moving from here.
That's fine with me. I'm going to come out there and get my guy on the floor. And I'm going to put my gun down here in the doorway so you can see that I am not trying to hurt you.
They don't respond to this, but they also don't drop their weapons. They keep them aimed at you, but they watch you slowly come out and take the body. In the meantime, Hestia. That was honestly probably enough time for a few rounds to pass in that conversation, so you definitely have a couple turns to spend here if you wish.
High Tide took damage since the last time. Can I use first aid on him again?
You can do that, but what I need to check is the rules on resuscitation, because I'm pretty sure there are some. There we go. Someone must make a first aid test. Let's start with that. What is your con score, High Tide?
Constitution score is currently at 10.
10. Okay, so the time limit has not passed for you to be completely dead at this point. So I think what happens here is you are in now critical condition, High Tide, as a major artery has been severed here and you are rapidly losing blood. But Hestia, thinking very quickly here, has rushed in, has stopped the bleeding, and I think High Tide situation here is needs immediate medical attention at an actual hospital somewhere, or High Tide will die soon. But Hestia has stabilized him long enough to potentially get him there. It's kind of the current situation.
I do have a
Can
quick
I
question.
do some medicine on him? Because I do have my medicine, my emergency kit with me.
I think that would be the first aid test, essentially.
Okay.
If you want more deeper care, yes. The next thing after first aid for this kind of situation is an extensive surgery. That is something that takes prep. That's something that takes a lot more equipment than what would just be in a medical bag. On and so forth.
So am I conscious right now?
I will leave that up to you. You do recover 1d4 hit points, but you are in a state. I would say whatever you think is more interesting for your character at the moment. Do you want to wake up in horrible pain, dying, or do you want to stay unconscious?
Well, he only has
actually,
2 hit points.
That
so...
answers the question for us. You remain unconscious. Sorry for baiting you. 2 hit points. You remain unconscious.
Oh yeah, no, it's okay. My next question is going to be what happens when you reach 0 will points.
Oh, if you reach 0 willpower, we had this happen to Hallow before. You basically go into a state where you fail every roll, just until you regain willpower.
I think this happened the first time we died.
I think so. Yeah. You just cannot pass any rolls, basically, and you go into an emotional breakdown.
The thing is, I don't need to pass any rolls if I can healing hand myself, but if I'm not conscious, I can't do that.
Oh, true. Yeah, you're currently not conscious, though, unfortunately. Just that's the luck of the dice here.
Yep.
But that is a potential future thing you could do. Someone
going to
else.
yell, I'm a nurse. He needs to go to a hospital. I'm taking him to our vehicle.
How badly does he need to get there?
If I don't start moving him now, he's going to die, and it'll be on you.
Call in a helicopter, then.
All right, I'll do it. So I will call the nearest hospital and tell them to send a helicopter.
Okay. You start doing that.
I will also tell them, give them a brief version of extreme contaminants.
Yeah.
Warehouse.
Hallow will also send Grace a text message with an update while that's going on.
I think while this is going on, Hestia has called the hospital. You've contacted Grace, all of that. Hallow, I think you get a phone call.
All right, he picks up.
You hear immediately the voice of Undersheriff Joseph Pullman. Agent, what the fuck? What is going on over there? I've heard reports of shots fired. Some of their men have called in repeated reports that someone is shooting up the place.
We found our terrorist source here, actually. They started a conflict, we resolved it, and now we're dealing with their men. We're terribly sorry for any inconvenience we've caused you. And all the ruckus. One of our men is actually down and needs serious medevac right now. I believe there's a helicopter on the way as well.
I think as you're saying all of that, somebody shouts in the background. It's probably the chief of security again. Shouts, "Hey, we're not terrorists! What is he saying? What is he telling you?"
He yells back, Your research is being used in terrorist acts, dipshit.
So Pullman on the line will say, "Okay, well, I'll send some men over. You need a bunch of arrests, then, is what it sounds like. We need to get on the scene immediately. I need to send men over there immediately. I don't know why I'm asking you." And he
Bring
just hangs up.
fire containment also. It's just starts sputtering about fire containment also. Bring fire.
Nope. Pullman is in emergency mode, just immediately hung up and is sending, like, probably making other phone calls to send people over as soon as possible. So law enforcement's on the way. I think it is a safe bet that because law enforcement and medical aid have been called, the fire department's probably also on the way. But it's just kind of an all hands on deck emergency situation. All the lines are being, ringing like crazy. So, you guys are in the room here. You've made some calls. What do you do in like the next couple tense minutes? Actually, I'll give you guys the initiative here. What are you guys gonna do or say or whatever in the next few minutes, before the people outside start talking again?
Really heavy breathing.
Probably slightly sputtery breathing.
Can you
give
test it? Can you
a-
try to wake Hunter up? He's unconscious.
There's
Blood
not much
is
I can
spreading
do,
more with
and
every
he's likely
passing
to pass
moment.
out if he tries to move.
Well, yeah, we definitely can't be going anywhere. We got to keep whatever tense peace we have here.
Wait.
This is gonna.
Sorry, there may be some slight confusion there. Hunter is still a valid target for first aid. You healed High Tide before, but now Hunter is unconscious, and you could
Okay,
try to.
then yeah, I'll patch up Hunter.
Okay, just wanted to make sure there was a.
Oh,
Unfortunate.
Rip Hunter.
I think at the very least you do like stop the bleeding and stuff, but yeah, you don't do enough to wake him up or even give him any technical hit points. But okay, sorry. Back to your conversation.
Yeah. We can't leave these guys here. They do need a serious immediate evacuation. So I don't know how many.
Can I try and give them like a very like brief version of the effects and the severity of the thing and Dr. Gent's plan that she said out loud?
So I will remind you all as well that you have a whole bunch of witnesses here that saw an unnatural event, and it is one of your jobs to make sure that there are no witnesses to such unnatural events, or if there are some, that they like potentially get recruited into Delta Green or become silenced in some way. And you have a hell of a lot of people approaching your location very rapidly, and there is evidence in the form of unnatural fungus everywhere at the moment.
Yeah. Hallow will. Yeah. Okay. So, remembering all of that, look, these security guys, they're really dedicated, and we know that they can keep a secret. Maybe we try to recruit them in, and they help us fend off whatever all of this kerfuffle is about to show up. Maybe we set the entire lab ablaze, and that's that. Maybe we can convince them to that. But we need to get them out of here, and we cannot have everybody else show up and start seeing this fungus. But we need to get our guys out of here safely.
Okay.
We have a very limited amount of time. Maybe we can make an emergency call to Grace and get everybody evacuated out of here with helicopters before anybody else even gets here.
So if you're going to try and recruit people to Delta, you need to get the head of security. Whoever's the best talker. I'm pretty new here, so I don't know what to say. But whoever's good at like convincing people, maybe give it a shot. And if we have all of those hands, we can get this place cleaned up fast.
I think that's a good bet. If you want to keep an eye on these guys, I'll go talk to the chief of security. And he stands up and walks kind of over to where the security people are gathered up.
They all point their guns at you.
Hey, whoa. So, number one thing, everybody in town is on their way here right now, and they're not going to care about your fences or the sniper on the roof. The fire department is on their way. There's medical personnel on the way. The sheriff and his entire department are on their way. It is in all of our best interest that none of the anything in this laboratory gets found. Agreed?
Hmm.
Is that something we can agree on?
Certainly looks better on me as an employee of this place, I guess. Yes. Is this some kind of deal we're cutting here? Is this some kind of... Listen, me and my boys here, we're just doing our jobs. We're defending this place as we were hired to do. Right? We didn't mean to get wrapped up in any kind of terrorism or whatever. I'm sorry for giving you a hard time before. I was just doing my job again.
No, and your serious attention to detail like that is part of the reason we're having this conversation, because you're good at securing places where there's weird shit going on and otherwise not paying too much attention to that, and that's useful for us. If you can help us clean up all this, we need to maybe even just start burning parts of this lab down. We can try and get everybody on helicopters and get out of here before the entire town shows up and starts asking some real awkward questions. The biggest things we need to do is get rid of any samples from Eden Pit and burn down Dr. Gent's office because that fungus is highly infectious. Also, do not come in contact with me or any of the other agents, as we are all infected currently.
Is this a job offer?
This is a job offer. You come with us, we
Well.
can get you some very good work with some very good benefits.
Roll me persuasion at plus 20%. Critical success. Okay. So I think he just immediately responds after hearing all this and processing. You can almost see him like chewing on the thoughts a little bit as he kind of like nods along and flexes his jaw and says, well, he lowers his gun and the rest of the guys lower their guns in response. Me and the boys here are recently out of a job, so I think we'll take you up on that. And all the guys kind of shrug like a sigh of relief and all start putting down their weapons and like and starting to like continue to tend to their wounded and like cleaning up some things around and stuff. Yeah. All right, so let's move. What are we doing? Are we burning this place down?
Burning it down is the best option we have. Get any staff out of here, and I'm going to go make a phone call. If you have any medical staff that can assist getting our very wounded out the door at least, so we can get choppered out easier, that'd be appreciated. And my agent might be able to help with your wounded as well once everybody's situated outside. I will help you with any of the disposal inside once I'm done with this phone call.
Understood. You heard him, boys. Maybe just waves a hand and they all start running off. They start smashing things.
Don't use caustic agents. It likes that. Use fire.
Fire, understood.
And he dials Grace.
Yes, Agent, I received your status report. We received several phone calls from the local police. Real mess.
About that, can you get a couple of helicopters here before the locals get here? I have around 6 pretty good security recruits for Delta Green, and we need to get everybody out of here before anybody from town gets here. This was, as far as we can tell, the last source of the infection in town outside of what lies beneath Eden Pit. So we don't need to interact with any of those guys ever again, hopefully.
Okay, understood. We'll get right to work on it.
Thank you.
Happily
Also,
start patching people up.
Yeah. And also the 4 of us agents here on the ground, we are all infected currently. So we're going to see if they have any more hazmat suits, but we're going to need treatment.
Understood. We will prepare that. Thank you, Agent. You'll hear from us soon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Hangs up and gets to work.
Right. Take a couple minute break real quick. I'll be right back.
All good.
Yeah.
Everybody's alive.
GM's gone. Time to post blue circles.
Did not that was looking like a TPK for a little bit.
Yeah, for a second, I did not expect the doctor to die so quickly.
I didn't expect anything that happened.
I mean, yeah, especially after like the events of last session when she was going on and on about the star people and like, what the shit? Do we just have to kill her? There is no other choice. Like,
Had to be done.
I'm worried that the helicopters that Delta Green is going to be sending are missiles.
Doing that, remember?
so how do you think Hestia is dealing with all of this, Joanna?
I'm real confused.
This was the first instance of her seeing the fungus, right? This like weird lady just exploding into fungus and other ickers.
I think honestly the most confusing thing is the going straight to shooting people because she's a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
She's used to patching people up.
And these wackos are out here just slinging guns around.
I mean, you did
Yeah,
seize your
those-
window
the-
of
the-
opportunity.
Those wackos. I do have to commend you for doing the best out of any of us of protecting the innocents by plugging the window with your body so that the horrid fungus doesn't get out.
That was the plan all along.
All according to plan. A very noble self-sacrifice.
All according to Keikaku.
Indeed.
Also, I still can't believe Hallow is still out here with more sanity in the whole group. He's still at 67.
I'm down to 36, but that may not matter with my health as low as it is.
I have 22 sanity.
Oof.
Oh,
62, so I'm doing pretty okay.
yeah.
Sorry for the wait. I'm back.
No
good.
worries.
Whoa.
You talking about sanity stats? Is that what I heard?
A little bit.
Yeah. We're about
Ah.
to get hit by some long-range missiles.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the helicopters that they're sending.
Indeed. And speaking of helicopters, I think that is what arrives next. You guys successfully set fire to this place, and helicopters arrive. Some of the it is a Saturday, and so I think like the amount of actual lab staff on hand is relatively light, and like mostly it was the security guards here watching the place, Dr. Gent, and perhaps a few other lab members that you quickly hear from the other guards were the kind of lab members that were here on the weekend after you guys came knocking without a warrant before, probably because they are the kind of lab members who were, you know, involved in some of the shadier shit and destroying evidence and stuff, so they are willing to comply and try to like act like they didn't hear gunfire and stuff earlier and so on and so forth. So yeah, you get everybody out of the building. You set major chunks of the building on fire. the fire department arrives, a helicopter arrives. You get High Tide's body on the helicopter. And yeah, anyone want to add any
Hunter
role playing
too,
into these
probably
scenes?
because he's unconscious.
Yeah, that's fair. They can airlift 2 people. Yeah.
Hestia would probably just get into trauma nurse, like scrub up. Well, no, she's contaminated. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hello would have tried to find another set of hazmat suits inside the lab while we were setting it on fire and suit himself and Hestia back up so that they can at least be mushroomy inside their hazmat suits and not, get anybody else infected.
Okay.
Oh, Hestia would probably begin their requisitioning of supplies for another round of group treatments.
Yes. That sounds good. I think they actually would have supplies on hand, and not just baking soda, but like more like baking soda is what you need, but it's not in the form you need it in, and that kind of stuff. Like they have actually been doing experiments on this fungus, and so they have like a large amount of supplies of like substances they can contain the fungus in and stuff, which you would need for treatment. And so you do get that supplies, and it's in a little bit nicer form than just baking soda. So you do have that, and I will also say the hazmat suits you find they have 2 more underwater hazmat suits are what you locate. So I think you noticed there were 2 at the place, although one of them was compromised. And now you have 2 more. Yeah.
We have 3 functional underwater hazmat suits. We just need 1 more from Delta Green.
Precisely. I would say you do think the one that was punctured would still function for just being underwater. It just it wouldn't keep you safe from contaminants. Although, it's not only the fungus in that water that's contaminant. So, if that is your goal, yeah, maybe need another one. Yeah. You know what? Actually, just to hand wave it slightly, we'll say you find 3, because if you're gonna request from Delta Green anyways, why not just fast forward that a little bit? You find 3s that you can have 4 working ones. That just makes it easier. So you now have 4 working underwater hazmat suits. Potentially. You'll have to store the spare one somewhere, but yeah, just hold on to it for now.
Yeah,
Yep.
we will.
Maybe
them
need
alone,
those later.
Leave them decontaminated.
I think as some of the chaos here starts to die down, people who were injured are taken care of by the medical professionals. The fire department is starting to spray the now burning building, all of that. The police officers are questioning people and figuring out what's going on here. Jason Pullman approaches you 2. And you're now wearing your hazmat suits, it sounds like?
Yep. Suited back up.
Agents, what the hell went on out here?
Well, it turns out. I'll go ahead.
We found Dr. Gent. She lectured us for quite a while about the star people. Oh,
About
I
the
don't know
what?
if she was crazy talking about some people in the sky. And then she decided, and then she told us that she was planning on sharing the blessing, which is what she calls this infection, with the whole world, whether they like it or not.
So this was religious extremism?
Unclear. Closer to like a megalomania cult.
He kind of squints his eyes at you a little bit, like, okay, and
Thought
she's
whatever
dead?
the sickness was gave her superpowers. And when she said she intended to spread it. We attempted to apprehend her. She resisted, and we were forced to escalate.
I see. Roll me a persuade check minus 20%. He's very suspicious of the way many things have gone down in town.
Can somebody else do it?
Well, you've been the one talking. Hey, you rolled a
Fine.
2. You're good.
I'm okay.
Okay. I guess we'll do all the proper paperwork. We'll get this up the chain of command. They'll deal with all the details. I'm sure your people will do all the debriefing for your side of things, and we'll continue to question everyone else who is here.
Fortunately, once we clean up we should be out of your hair. We just need to do some decontamination on the lake, and that shouldn't involve any outside people.
Decontamination on the lake? What, are you gonna do a miracle?
No.
We expect that there's something to find in the lake that they've been using in particular, one substance in particular that they've been harvesting from the lake bed. Maybe we're not entirely sure what it is at this point. That's something for our eggheads to figure out. But whatever it is, maybe it's some compound from all of the contaminants in the lake just finally all conglomerating together.
Yeah, okay, I don't know what any of that is, but it's something that can be fixed. It's not like the whole lake is too contaminated now and we need to wall it off even more. So this was related to the terrorism then? You're telling me there's a terrorist weapon in the lake?
The substance that they're using to create it, yes. So that's what we're going to go clean up.
God damn it. Okay. He pulls out a radio and starts yapping some things into it. All right, I'm gonna have man surrounding that pit. Nobody's gonna go in or out except you four.
Thank you. Asbestos is a curse.
Ain't that the truth? All right. Well, I'm sure Officer Potter, Sheriff Potter, has woken up, actually. He's doing a little better. I'm sure he'll be hearing from your people about how your debriefs went and all of those details eventually. But for now, I suppose you should get to what you're going to do.
We're going to go check on our other agents and see if they can, be resuscitated for today and help to get the job done, or if we got to go back in tomorrow. But we'll be in touch.
Understood. Hell of a mess you left behind, but I suppose it could have been a lot worse if you didn't intervene, so thank you.
Thank you for being so understanding, and we're sorry for the mess. It's never intended.
The sheriff may be less understanding. We'll find out when he's back in his position, but for now, I'll play the good cop. You go get to what you're gonna do.
GM question? What happened with the sheriff?
He dove into the burning building a while ago when Hematite died to try and save Christina, and then got like horrible burns all over his body and had to be rushed to a hospital and all of that. So he's been in critical condition for a bit, but has woken up. So Under Sheriff Pullman has taken over for a while. That's who you've been contacting recently.
As in, did he survive or not?
Oh, with the sheriffs? Did the sheriff survive? Yeah. But he was rushed to the hospital. I mean, even based on that conversation, yes, he survived. Pullman has been visiting him. Okay, so
all right. Hallow and Hestia will head to the hospital that Hunter and Haitai got taken to.
Okay. I think you would find both of them undergoing surgery upon your arrival. So they won't let you in to see them, but you can wait for them there.
Can I submit myself for treatment to a friendly, considering the recent infection?
Ooh, true. And I mean, you have two bodies currently undergoing surgery that are probably infected. I mean, Hunter passed the luck save, so Hunter's fine.
Oh, good.
But I think he was the only one. So, I guess it didn't sound like either of you prioritized getting them to like friendly surgeons ahead of time. You just prioritized saving their lives. So there may be some luck rolls involved here. But
Unless maybe one
we'll
of
figure it
the
out later.
Grace phone calls managed to divert them to friendlies. Hopefully.
I thought Grace was the one sending helicopters.
No, you guys just call
She
the
was-
hospital.
Yeah, she was sending other helicopters to get us the guards recruited and out of there.
I'm just gonna roll a luck roll.
We met your solid 5 to them out of there.
I think based on that luck roll, you did not manage to divert your two fallen companions to friendlies who are like aware of the unnatural. But I mean, they will be wearing protective gear good enough for surgery at the very least. They'll be using sterilized equipment and all that kind of stuff. So their odds are higher of not getting infected, but you may want to check up on people in a day or two or whatever.
Making the call, Hestia would have said like infectious disease kind of thing.
She did say
Yeah.
infectious agents, actually. I remember that.
Okay, so maybe
So-
they'll take a little bit extra precaution then. Yeah.
So yeah, they would ideally be wearing hazmats given the scope of the infection.
Yeah. I'm sure they're wearing some kind of protection. It's just tricky. Can you do surgery in a hazmat suit? I feel like that's something that requires so much dexterity. Yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna give them a luck roll, plus 40% for all the protective equipment they're probably wearing. But yes,
In 2005, maybe not. Now, certainly with like person in hazmat operating machine with microscope.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we do be in 2005 at the moment, though. So I'm gonna give them plus 40%. So they only have a 10% chance to get infected here. We'll just see. Hey, all is well.
I will say as well, are they gonna do any blood tests or anything?
I mean, I don't think unless it's necessary. Unless I think it's necessary. Why?
Well, I was just curious to see how they would react by a body having heavy metals in it.
Oh,
Or
you're-
out of balance.
yes. Okay, so slight thing about the fungus. You know what? Actually, I shouldn't explain that without reason. We will say that you explained the risk of contamination and stuff, and their body should be checked for that. You know, both agents should be checked for, you know, have their health checked basically, as well as the surgery, just checking for contamination basically. And I think actually both of you get a clean bill of health as far as like blood goes. Your blood is clean. You don't get any like measure of heavy metals or whatever. You don't appear to be infected with any kind of fungus or whatever. But now I do have to roll for the surgery. Let's see. They actually attempt a surgery or medicine test once per week.
Goodness.
So I think I'm just going to give these doctors, I'm going to assume they're very good surgeons, an 80%. I'll roll twice. This is for High Tide. This is for Hunter. Oh no! A
Delta
natural
Green has
100.
another operation to go do. Oh
Oh
no.
no. Hunter, a fumble inflicts 1d4 damage. Surgery. So I think Hunter's condition gets worse.
All right, would you like to roll? Oh,
Oh. You live another day.
You're at 1 health.
Literally another day. That is that is what I am living.
Indeed. I think, shockingly, a shocking turn of events. High Tide wakes up after having his neck slashed open and rushed to a hospital. Hunter, with a couple bullet wounds, which are certainly also very bad, Hunter does not wake up. His condition worsens. His vitals begin to fail. They have to just patch him up as best they can, but they aren't able to improve his situation with what they're doing. They probably get the bullets out of you and stuff, but his vitals are just so weak he can't be woken up at the moment. So you guys arrive, and do you just wait there for the probably like couple hours it's going to take for the surgeries until you hear results, or do you do anything in the meantime?
If I can commandeer a room, like a hospital room, and set up our treatment plan with the new and improved medicine, I'd like to do that.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. And you did ask if you could see friendly doctors. We never resolved that question. I guess the answer to that question is yes, now that you've had more time to prepare and stuff. I actually think because this is more dramatic and fun, I think Delta Green, with its more resources now, but also its need to keep things more clandestine, you two, after visiting, maybe you don't even visit because you're in hazmat suits, and it's like, oh, you're visiting the hospital in hazmat suits? Like, what's going on? Underwater hazmat suits, nonetheless. I think Delta Green rushes you guys out to, like, a warehouse that has been set up with medical equipment and stuff, and, like, they just set up little, like, temporary wall, like, curtain things. They get a whole bunch of medical equipment rushed in. They just have, like, a hospital in a box, like in the back of a truck kind of thing, that they just rush into this warehouse, set up, rush in some friendly doctors, that kind of stuff, who are all, on call for this kind of situation. And you two are just set up in separate hospital beds, side by side, with a curtain between you and the 4 curtains around you to make, makeshift little hospital rooms. Probably tents over everything too. And like lights everywhere to keep things bright and all of that. And everyone here is in hazmat suits as they administer treatment. So you guys get changed out of your hazmat suits and begin the process of treatment. I guess is a question I should ask here. Based on the timing of all of this, it is likely going to take your agents a few weeks in order to recover to the point where you're all up and ready for action again. However, before that happens, you could potentially have a couple agents in underwater hazmat suits who are not yet experiencing symptoms of the infection, who could just go and try to finish the job, or you could wait out the couple weeks, hope nothing bad happens during those weeks of recovery, hope your agents all survive, and then go out and complete the job afterwards. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Hallow is
unless somebody else says.
Yeah, Hallow is fine with trying to go and finish the job, but he's not going to go and try and drag Hestia along because, she's not, that's not what she's there for in the first place. Like, and if if anybody's going to keep going insane, it's going to be the 3 originals, who just keep spiraling down their mad trail. So probably just wait it out then.
Hestia has to way between. I just realized, like, she knows how contagious this thing is. So it's weighing between stopping the source of the contagion and taking care of people.
Hallow's probably staking out the pit every day during this time, though. Like he'll get a treatment and then go stake out.
Okay. Hestia would go for treatment, or not treatment, taking care of the thing under the lake before treatment, I think.
Oh, well,
Okay,
if you're down for
right.
going down,
Yeah, because it comes down to 3 people versus a potential worldwide outbreak.
but how do we even fight it down there? Because it's in a very, conducive to its health habitat. We got to get it out somehow. And we know that it can puncture suits.
Hello. I think based on everything you've seen, you would have a unique opportunity to put some clues together here. So give me an intelligence roll. I think this would involve some things that Hestia is not aware of.
Whoo!
You are trying to think of like, how can we fight this thing underwater? And you're just racking your brain about it a little bit. And then you remember that unfortunately you're all out of thermite grenades. But thermite grenades are a thing. And would work underwater.
Oh, because they burn hot enough, right?
Yeah, I believe thermite works underwater.
Yeah, it would work underwater.
It burns. It provides its own oxygen.
In that case, can we organize something with Grace to have like a response team ready? Like Hallow and Hestia at the end of a tether in their underwater hazmat suits with a couple of thermites apiece to try and stick the bad guy.
I think I think yeah, you organize something with Grace. And you are approached eventually, probably that day, I guess, because you're not undergoing yet. You're approached that day by an agent who we, the audience, but I don't believe either of you recognize as Agent Halo, the agent that was seen, or one of the agents that was seen with Hunter in another branch, loop, world, whatever it was, where Hematite had contacted you all. That meet up in the hotel parking lot. So just another figure here that neither of you recognize. I won't make you roll standard rolls for it, but just a little detail. And he hands you guys the thermite grenades, one each. And says, "All right, so I brought there's a winch on my truck. We can lower you in with that. Best of luck down there."
Thank you. That'll have to do. I don't have a lot of good history around these things, so let's hope it goes better for me than it ever did for my friend. I'll suit
You
up
have
and...
said Hematite's name? I asked, would you have said Hematite's name, or would you just say my friend?
I think he just said his friend.
Okay.
Have we not said that it was Hematite at any point when we were talking about, like, our weird conversation
We've
with someone
definitely
from a
mentioned
different
Hematite
timeline?
before.
Mm-hmm.
I think so, yeah.
I was just wondering if Halo heard Hematite's name coming from you.
Oh,
Mm.
doesn't sound like it in this conversation so far.
All right. You sure there's no more? We've just got these 2 shots?
Yeah, this was the best I can get on short notice. I mean, I guess if you fail down there, we can just come back, right? Just gotta burn that thing away.
for the most part. Why do these things always come in twos? Hematite found 2 in the bunker before.
Oh. That's weird. You
Weird.
know, I just these are from my personal armory, actually. You know how the job goes. As
Yeah.
he immediately has a follow-up like, oh yeah, I just have thermite grenades.
He and Hallow bond over that briefly.
You do the big muscly handshake. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like a brief cutaway where he is talking about his very full car of weapons and things from previous operas.
Yes.
So, upon hearing Hematite's name there, does he respond in any way?
No, he does not. But he continues. He's like, yeah, it's funny. I actually prepared these for a previous opera. But I ended up not going on that one. It didn't work out. So, I guess it works out that we have him here. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
Uh,
So, the two.
and if we're
of you
at the pit, we'll hop in.
I think so. Yeah, you get driven over there. You pass the line of police officers who are keeping a perimeter around the pit at the moment. You get in. You're in the truck. You drive down that dirt road. You get closer, and then he sets up the winch. You guys are suited up, and you get slowly lowered into the pit. What's the operating procedure? Are you just like both grabbing onto like the hook at the end of the winch and just being lowered in that way? Or are you going in one at a time? I guess like this is really helping you overcome the sort of steep cliff that leads down into the water, but are you like hooking it to one of your suits to pull you out later, or like tying a rope to it or something? Like what's the...
That was my idea, yeah, was to have it clip onto the suit so that Hallow or whoever could just like give a couple quick tugs and be pulled back quickly.
Okay.
Can we
So maybe...
like split carabiners so that we're each attached to a rope that's attached to it?
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So perhaps you get some cable or something, and the cable hooks you all together, carabiners, all that stuff, and you're both descended into the water. You slowly approach this, like I said before, very cloudy red water, just so contaminated with different metals and chemicals and minerals and whatnot, that the color is just unnatural looking. Your feet dip into the surface, and it hardly even ripples. The water's just so thick. But it does a little bit. And you slowly sink into it, slower than you're used to with water. And then you begin to float on the surface. And I need swim checks from both of you.
Swim.
Swim!
Hang on. Where's swim? Alright.
Ruh-roh. Alright.
Didn't know we'd have to swim.
It is water. So, with your swim rolls failed, I need you both to roll a luck roll. But you're both so lucky. You try to swim around in this place for a bit because you don't know exactly where the thing you're looking for is. And it's murky, it's dark, it's hard to navigate down here. You don't even know what the floor of the pit looks like, or like you're completely blind down here basically. You can see like a little bit around you. There's probably some lights on your underwater hazmat suit you can turn on, but it's just so murky. It's like turning on your headlights in the fog, right? You're just not getting much distance here. But with your successful luck rolls, you both see a massive chunk of chunk's the wrong word. A big I don't know what the proper word is, a big bit of like coral in this pond. You don't know why coral would be in the pond, but there it is in front of you, and you are rapidly approaching it based on the way you've been swimming. But thanks to your luck rolls, you both managed to see it in time to sort of pivot yourselves a little bit, and like you're swimming slow enough that you don't just like get torn up on the coral, because the coral, it appears, is very sharp. It's just covered in these odd, jagged edges. I need you both to roll Sandy as you see what appears to be some sort of alien growth under this pit. This mass of nonsensical biology. It is just blades and like claws and eyes. It is stone and flesh and metal. It is fungus. It is like nothing you've ever seen before. It doesn't appear to be like actually one of these we've been calling them dogs. It doesn't look anything like one of those in its shape, but it clearly looks made out of the same kind of materials. It's chitinous, it is jagged, it is weird, it's flickering in and out of existence. And on a failure, you're going to take 1d6 sanity damage. On a success, you're just going to take 1 damage. Sandy, I should say.
Alright. Let's project onto a bond.
Okay. Ooh, 4. Okay, so you only take 1 point of sanity damage.
I can't undo. Crap. Do you have any way to undo a delete?
Do a what?
Delete?
What did you delete? Oh, a bond?
I meant to edit the bond and I accidentally clicked the trash because it was a little too far to the right.
I don't, unfortunately.
Okay.
Funny enough, I have added a recycle bin module to most of my other games on Foundry, but not this one for some reason, because it has slipped my mind. So no, I do not have a recycle bin, unfortunately. But that's fine. We can handle that later, since there's only a few minutes left here. We'll just figure out whatever bond that was.
I mean, I know the relationship. I just, like, wrote a brief backstory in the notes.
Oh, that sucks. Yep. Well, I am sorry for that, but
Then I'll just
for now,
topple a new one.
yeah. So you damage that bond, you avoid going temporarily insane, and the both of you see this. What are you doing?
Hollow motions to Hestia to just kind of slowly get into one of the nooks and set his thermite against it with his hand on the pin, ready to pull it, and waits for Hestia to position hers in a different spot.
Like, this is, like, the thing down here.
What it looks like to you. I mean, it. I guess Hestia hasn't really seen this stuff before, but yeah.
Like, the lake is small enough that it's not like this could be one of a couple different things.
That's a fair question. I mean, you don't know. You could swim around some more. It is a small pond. It is, like, surprisingly deep is really the issue. But yeah. Try to swim around more and see if you find anything else. But, you know, just spending time and rolls that could potentially go bad. It's up to you.
Doesn't know any better, so she'll follow the lead and get ready.
So, you all are setting charges, essentially, right? You're just setting your grenades ready to...
Yep.
All right. Are you ready for a fun roll?
Yes.
Because the book calls for a demolitions roll.
Oh. I don't even have that skill.
Can we try and throw them at it?
Yeah, I think setting them to go off later would be demolitions.
Yeah.
So if you
Oh,
want to just
I mean-
chuck the grenades, that's...
So my idea was to just have them like on the thing and then pull the pin and then like just back away, so we don't have to throw it. It's just there.
I see. Okay.
It's basically dropping it.
I think that makes sense for a luck roll.
Hooray!
Okay. I think Hestia, the book actually says here, you can roll this again, but if you fail this next roll, it'll be disastrous for your character. The current consequences are probably you just drop the grenade and it just sinks down beneath this thing. Yeah, you can try to
get caught in Hallow's explosion.
I mean, potentially, but I think that because you failed here on the roll, it just means it's not going to be as effective, right? It's not going to be as effective as you're hoping. So you can try to correct its effectiveness here, but you'll be risking quite a lot by trying to catch a grenade and put it back in its place. Playing baseball with a grenade. Oh, okay. It took the gamble. That's a 47 under 50.
Nice. I respect that.
The grenade teeters on the as you're getting ready to leave. You've planted your grenades, you both pull the pin, you yank on the cable, and you start getting pulled away. But Hestia notices her starting to tilt and fall off of the fungus. And so she just reaches out with like a kick or something as you're being pulled away to just knock it back into place. And thanks to your lucky roll, you kick it back into place, and then you're pulled away by the cable just as the grenade goes off, and like the eruption of fire like narrowly misses the foot of your hazmat suit as you're pulled back. And you two just watch as this plume of fire erupts underwater. Bubbles start going everywhere as the water is like immediately boiled into steam around these thermite grenades, and the light lights up this mass of fungal stuff, this fungal coral underwater, and a big mouth opens up on this thing, and it starts vibrating the water with a roar of pain. Give me another sanity check, each of you. Full success. You're gonna take none.
Typing. One moment.
All right, 3 points of sanity from the unnatural, which you're both pulled up out of the water. As you see, as you're pulled away, the fire begin to engulf this entire thing underwater, and it burns away. You're both yanked out of the water, up the cliff as you're being dragged along the surface, and you can just see the entire like the center of this pit just boiling. It looks like a witch's cauldron, just this rush of steam and bubbles in the middle as this place starts to boil. Not all of it, but just localized to the center. And like the foam starts to form at the point of the boiling and kind of spreads out along the surface and all sorts of stuff. And the roaring stops. And you all have successfully defeated the threat. So, everybody, because you all survived, and you'll hear of this eventually, can recover 1d10 sanity points, rolled individually.
Does that include Hunter?
It does, yes. Yeah, I mean, by default you get this. You can, I think Hunter has chosen to ignore it in the past, but you have successfully helped kill something here that is bad, so if you want the sanity back, you can take it. Unfortunate for Hollow, but I think your sanity is doing better than the rest here, so.
I'm still at 65.
Yeah, that's still great.
9.
Nice. So, crazy.
That puts me well away from my breaking point.
That is good.
And now we go to treatment time and get sick.
Indeed.
And then get better.
So that's where we'll end for tonight, and we'll pick up next time. You guys have successfully completed this opera. So next time we will start with rolling for treatment and then probably into some downtime between this and your next mission. Some home
nice.
scenes. Yay!
Well, we actually successfully did it without all dying and weird things happening.
There's still a chance.
Well,
There's definitely still a chance.
Also
This
hematite.
disease. Yeah, the hematite did die. That is true. R.I.P.
yeah.
But yeah, you guys are going to have excellent medical care, so you're going to have easier rolls than when y'all were just kind of in a hospital room. Sorry, a hotel room.
Hospital room.
Up and down baking soda.
Exactly. So, yeah, we shall see how well it goes, but that's where we'll leave